This week on Transition Radio TV, we have Scott, also known as Rogue Reflection, the man behind the lens who is fighting for our freedom with his weapon, the camera.
And he is an amazing freedom fighter, so don't miss it. And also, you will see the Shame on You segment.
And the transition video of the week with amazing transformations, so stay tuned. Transition Radio TV brought to you by thebreastformstore.com. They have everything you could possibly need for your cross-dressing and transgender needs. Visit their website at www.thebreastformstore.com and tell them Transition Radio sent you.
The following ingredients include a look behind the scenes. Cook uncovered until hot. Add grooves to taste.
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl.
The accident was over a year ago. A second woman has been elected president. A 12th planet has been named in the solar system. The last wild polar bear has died. I slept through it all. I was here for my waking. He called it a beginning. He said it was good. I think he may have thought that anything I did was good.
Welcome to Transition Radio, live from Hilton Manors, Florida. With your host, Mark Angelo Cummings.
And your hostess, Jessica Latham.
I love this thing. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Transition Radio TV. And we are live, not before we were before, but this time we're live from Collins, Georgia.
Yes, we were in Cross City before,
Yes.
now we're in
Collins, Georgia. Yes. And
it apparently has better internet, from what I can tell, yeah.
Yes, we do. Yes.
Yay.
way better.
The campground, Roy's Hideaway, is an amazing campground, so we definitely highly recommend the place. Great amenities, night and day from the other place. And so far, so good. Anyway, tonight we have an amazing guest. He's not trans, he's an ally, and he is known as Rogue Reflections. Scott is from Napa Valley, California. He grew up in Europe, the Azore Islands, Portugal. He lives in Tacoma, Washington. And after the 9/11 tragedy, the art of photography became quite challenging. If in public, one could reasonably presume to be contracted by a police, security, or private citizens, while no conclusive evidence exists to suggest photographs, especially those taken in public from public spaces, were used in 9/11 or any terrorist act. The knee-jerk reaction was to demonize photographers as suspected terrorists.
I remember getting so disgusted with how I was treated, I stopped doing any sort of public photography for about 3 years. This is because I knew that about 95% of the time I would be contacted by police, forced to show my papers, and give a reason as to why I was there doing what I was doing. I felt a deep longing to get back into taking pictures, but was so stressed at the thought. It was after researching the laws regarding public photography and seeing the results that were gained for freedom by filming law enforcement, I decided I would do the same.
If I had put up with being treated as a subhuman terrorist, they would have to endure being filmed for all to see them. I started a YouTube account and resolved to film my next encounter. On the 30th of May, 2013, I had my first encounter. I was at Port Tacoma taking photos of huge cranes and old buildings. I was on a public accessible sidewalk when I was yelled at by two separate security officers. While being yelled at by the second one, the first to contact me was on the phone with Port Tacoma security. He informed the second officer after she was finished with her failed attempt to intimidate me that he was informed I was doing nothing illegal.
She called United States Customs and Border Protection. I will add that I was also legally and peacefully open carrying a holstered handgun. After that incident, I decided not only to film encounters as they happened to me, but to actively search out the untrained officers who presented a danger to society by not being trained or who allowed their egos to get the best of them. Some call what I do baiting or antagonistic. I see it as a public service.
This is how it starts. This is how it starts. Where are all the cops? There were like a whole bunch of them.
Cops are coming, let's roll. Come on. Cops are coming.
Sorry.
Let's calm down. Calm down. Hit me again, motherfucker. Hit me again, motherfucker. I'll knock your punk ass out. Shane, it's out of here. The police are here. The police are here. Let's go. The police are here. Let's go, right? I know.
That's what I came here for.
I saw it. I had it on video.
You got it on video, good. Is that right?
Yeah, the big guy followed down.
Cops are here.
Hey,
That man's good. I don't see him, sir. Right down there.
That's what you're standing And now welcome to the show, the man behind the lens, Scott, also known as Rogue Reflections.
Hey, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's amazing work that you're doing. People need to know what's going on, and what better weapon than a camera, video camera, or actual still picture to keep the cops straight, in a sense, and to know what's actually happening in the world. I mean, it's a very, very impressive tool.
Absolutely. Tell everybody a little bit about that video.
That video was taken at Pride Fest in 2013, Seattle, Washington. And I went there. You hear me in the video say towards the end, that's what I came here for. That's what I wanted to do. I went there to get photographs. I went there to get pictures of the event. And I knew that if I found some counter-protesters, then I would have a good video. And, you know, I was ready to leave. I got some great shots, but I was ready to leave because I never found any counter-protesters. And on the way out, my friend and I witnessed the street preachers from Open Air Seattle. And so I said, okay, let's go over there. And no sooner did I arrive, this happened, and I just rolled film.
They perform for the camera. You know, it's a good thing that we live in a country that's supposed to have freedom of speech. The opposing party have the right to think the way they want to, as we have the right to live our life, as long as we do it peacefully. And that's what this country is supposed to be all about. I think that it's important that we all have our own opinions and are able to share it in a peaceful manner. I mean, what do you think about that?
I served my country to help protect that. I swore an oath to the Constitution of the United States to defend the Constitution and a free people when I enlisted in the United States Air Force. And, you know, I was ready to, if I had to kill or if I had to die, to preserve those freedoms for Americans. So I agree, not only to have those opinions, but to voice them. I hear some people say, you can have your opinion, just keep it to yourself. You can have your lifestyle, just keep it to yourself. No, I don't believe that at all. I think if you're going to be who you are, and if you're going to say what you have to say, then you should do it loud and proud.
Exactly. And how do you feel to have your freedom taken away by the act of terrorism from our own government? And I think life changed dramatically from a particular date. And we'll go mention that date in the next question. But how do you feel that your freedom has, been taken away by our own government?
When I see governments or government officials who are so willing, and usually it's just out of ego or lack of knowledge, but usually out of ego, to just disregard the Constitution, disregard the values of freedom that this country is based on. It's a slap in the face to me. It's a slap in the face to every veteran. It's a slap in the face to any active duty military member. And I think it's a slap in the face to just any American, whether you've served in the military or not. If you enjoy freedom, if you enjoy living in a free country, able to express your opinions, it's a slap in the face to have those people that we pay so willing to just say, we don't care.
Definitely. And, people don't realize that life has changed dramatically. I mean, this country is not the same country that our forefathers fought to have. It's totally, it's gone upside down.
I
I'm
think they would be
totally,
rolling over in their graves if they saw the state
yeah.
of the country right now. They would be handing us arms to revolt with, if they saw the state of the country that we're in. And hopefully it doesn't have to come to arms against raising our arms against the government. But I believe that the founding forefathers would support an all-out revolution, which is not what I'm calling for, but I agree with you.
But I think that's what we need, because what else is going to change it? They're just continue to dumb us down. I see people as sheeple, one following the other without questioning, without creating any kind of mental, I can't even, the words aren't even coming out, because it's, I've been preaching this for the longest time, and people have always thought of me as crazy. And it's like, just look around you. Do you find this normal? You call this freedom? I wrote a...
Go ahead, sorry.
I wrote a song called Enslaved, and it says free to pay your taxes and told what to do. That's the freedom we have,
Right.
Bottom line.
Right.
Exactly.
With that in mind, I think that giving people information makes them aware. And when they're aware, they have a choice. And they have a choice and they have to make a decision on that choice that they make. And how you give that information, how you make people aware, is in a large way done by the videos that I put out, and by the songs that you guys put out. You're putting out information so the public can hear it and make a decision based on that. There are many people who did not know. I myself didn't know that public photographers had such problems until I went home and Googled it and started seeing the works of, Carlos Miller from Photography is Not a Crime, or Honor Your Oath, Jeff Gray. And I became a fan of these people, and it opened my eyes of the problems that photographers face, and people in general, not just photographers, not videographers, but people in general who wish to be free in this country have problems with that. And a lot of them stem from our government trying to stifle us.
Exactly.
Well, Rogue, let me ask you, can you believe that most people are ignorant of what has taken place since 9/11, and what's your take on that?
I'm sorry, can I believe that who?
That most people are ignorant of what has taken place since 9/11. What is your take on that?
My take on that is you're absolutely correct, I believe. I think that we are conditioned to follow from childhood. We're conditioned to listen to those who have uniforms on. We're conditioned to obey the police, obey the government, not question, be good little citizens, and everything will be fine. Comply, comply, comply. And when someone comes along that does not do that, they're looked at as a terrorist or a problem for society. I've been called all sorts of names for putting out the videos that I put out. And it's because people do not like to question, or they're taught rather not to question authority. And I think it's vital. I think it's a key element. I think it's a founding principle for a free people to question authority.
Definitely. And we wanted to say to the people that want to call in, the numbers on top of the screen, call in if you have any questions for Rogue or ourselves. We'll welcome your questions or comments or concerns.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah. Now, you're not transgender or anything, but you absolutely go through discrimination as well, being a photographer and stuff like that. Am I correct?
Only when I'm behind the camera, yes. Or actually, yeah, when I'm at home trying to comment on some pictures that I put online. Yeah, of course. I've experienced firsthand a lot of discrimination.
See, what happens if people fear what's different, and it's almost like society trains the sheeple to look down upon those that try to beat their own drums. And it's something that the government doesn't have to do it. They train society to tell everybody else, you're weird, you're strange, you're an anarchist, or I can't even say that word. Anarchist, and you're just a troublemaker because you don't follow the laws and you don't follow what society wants you to follow. Yeah, the little sheeple just strolling along, and they fear people like us because we put a little seed. At first, people think, well, that light's too bright. But later on, they start thinking, somebody else mentions something and kind of triggers something in their head. And they're like, you know what? They're right. Something is going on.
Exactly.
Look how many people have lost their job. Corporations are just taking over the world. There's a group of elitists that run the world. And most people are not aware. They think that President A and President B, have anything to do with what's happening in the world. They're puppets. And most people don't realize that.
High-paid puppets from high-paid corporations. Yeah, I'm not really anti-corporation. I think that there is a place for corporations in society that they give jobs to people. Maybe they don't pay well. Maybe they kind of rate people on their benefits. I'm not totally anti-corporation, but I do see that there is a need for our government to stop being in bed with corporations.
Well, that's what happens.
Absolutely. And take for instance, like you were saying about the president being a puppet on a string. It is true because they answer to somebody else. Think about high school when you run for school president, and you think when you're in high school, you think that person that wins the school presidency has full reign over what's going to happen. They still have to answer to the principal. Am I correct?
Right.
So it's the same concept.
It's lobbyists. It's I think that when this country was founded, we had small mom and pop businesses. They each kept each other honest. Corporations is like big fish eating little fish, and they create their own rules. Right now, we're going to eliminate benefits. We're going to lay people off. And you're seeing people are being laid off left, right, and center. Is why, because the corporation wants the CEOs want to continue to make all their bonuses and make all the money while everybody else is the one doing the work. But one guy's doing the job of five. So it's wrong. And to me, it's just totally wrong, but that's my opinion. What do you think is going on? What's going to take to wake people up? And do you believe it will be too late once they do?
Well, like I said earlier, what I think it takes to wake people up is information. I know plenty of people who didn't know of certain problems, whatever they are, until they were exposed to the information. Once they became aware, then they had to make a choice and they had to make a decision. They had to act on that decision. I think that giving out information, spreading information, whatever your cause is, as long as you bring it to the table so the American people can see it and show that you will not be backed down by people who have this power, that you'll be standing and you'll be counted for, then other people can see not only have you provided them information, but you have the integrity to stand behind that information, and you're not going to back down. And if they want to stand with you and be counted, let's do that.
Absolutely. And before we show the next video, I just want to say that, basically don't try to do what Rogue does unless you know the law, because Rogue knows what he's doing. He knows the law, and if you try to stand up against and you don't know what's going on, you don't know the law, you're bound to find yourself in trouble.
Before showing the next video, I wanted to mention something more about corporations. If you notice, more and more jobs are being shipped overseas. You got all these phone companies, cell companies, every type of company. When you call the customer service, you get somebody that sounds like this. Hi, my name's John Smith, and they're from India or whatever else. They
don't sound like that.
Well, whatever. They do this so that they don't have to pay the benefits, and it's a lot cheaper to get labor outside of the United States. So if corporations really wanted to be for the people, they wouldn't be eliminating the jobs that they are and outsourcing them. And it's, and they're allowed to do what they do because, again, they're in bed with each other, and it's something bigger than most of us can even dare to imagine.
Yeah, I have a hard time, I got to tell you, understanding the full scope of economics and how they apply, and when government gets involved and then government and corporations get involved, I tend to get a little lost. What I do know is when I call for a service that should be something easy, and a person who doesn't really speak really good English, whose name is George, tries to help me out with my problem. And I know, if I had just had someone I could talk to and explain this to, and I could understand what they're saying back to me, it would help me out a lot. And generally, you know, if I had a phone company that I was going through, and I had the first time I dealt with customer service and had to deal with that, I immediately cut my phone and switched phones, and I believe it was that day, because I said I'm not going to give any more of my money to that company. But really, it's hard to find any company anymore that doesn't outsource. The job that I was doing in Memorial Hospital in Colorado Springs. They didn't outsource overseas, but since they saw they can outsource to a conglomerate style company, and so the job I was doing, all of my friends who were doing it is now been lost to outsourcing. Everything's getting outsourced, whether it's out of the country or whether it's to corporate conglomerates.
Exactly. I mean, I got laid off a few months ago too. Again, I work for Genesis Rehab, and it's amazing what's happening. And I think that's what's going to take to wake people up. When it affects you, then that's when you start thinking and you want to do something about it. If it doesn't affect you, you're like, oh, that's not my business. You go about your life. But once, what's that saying? The shoe fits, or no, it pinches you.
If the shoe fits, where's it?
No. If it pinches you.
Trying to say, and you're making a solid point. Is, you know, it's really easy not to get affected by the news story of somebody else down the road. But when it affects you personally, when it starts affecting your wallet, when it starts affecting your ability to put food on the table, then you have to put on the brakes and say, oh, hold on, what have I done? Why have I not seen this before? So I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
exactly. Let me ask you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your weapon for freedom?
I think there's something about that later on.
Is there?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and show this video clip, and then we'll go back for that one. It's harass for photography of the port of Tacoma.
Port of Tacoma, yeah.
I don't...
Good evening.
Sir, are you authorized to take pictures of the port?
There is no authorization needed, and I'm recording this just for my own safety.
Okay, sir. You are?
Okay,
yeah.
yes.
He has a gun.
I have an open carry.
Gun. He has a gun right
I have an open carry, yes. That's not illegal here.
All right. I just need to do this. Now, what are you doing here, sir?
I'm taking pictures, and you're pulling your weapon. Why?
Because you have a gun on you.
Is my hand on my holster?
Gun! Gun!
Is my hand on my holster? Am I making any threatening gesture toward you? No, right? I'm making no threatening gestures towards you. Okay? I have no need to identify myself. I'm obeying the law. You're pulling your firearm, and I'm doing nothing to you. Nothing aggressive. Okay? So, I am recording this for my own safety. I'm breaking no laws. What law am I breaking?
We didn't say you're breaking the law.
Okay, so why is his firearm pulled?
Officer presence.
Officer presence. Is my hand on my weapon?
Officer presence.
Is my hand on my weapon? No, it's not. This is on audio and video for my own safety, in case the guy with his firearm shoots me. Huh. Can I have your name and badge number, officer? Can I have your name and badge number, please? You're on duty. You have a legal obligation to tell me that. Are you police? So you're refusing to give me your name and badge number. Why? Because you can. Well, I'm going to get your car here, and actually I could probably zoom into your name. Daniel. Okay, Daniel. Daniel with his firearm drawn. So Daniel, you're not going to give me your badge number. Are you afraid? Are you afraid you're acting out of compliance or anything?
I am acting for my own safety.
Is my hand on my weapon, Daniel?
Who is acting aggressive?
How am I being aggressive?
Sir, just stay where you are.
How am I being aggressive? I am filming. How am I being aggressive? You're not going to answer my question, but you're going to make that accusation. Okay. This will be good on YouTube. Officer Daniel from... Who are you? Oh, U.S. Customs Border Patrol Officer Daniel, who has his firearm drawn and refuses to identify himself. Yet he's probably going to ask me to identify myself. Am I correct? Because I'm not going to do that. There's no legal obligation to do so right now. Plus, you haven't asked.
Do I have to get the officer to ask? I think you've been asked twice.
I have this on video, so. I have an open carry firearm. Yes, it's totally legal to carry a.
We have a supervisor come down so you can talk to him.
Very good, very good. I'm gonna conserve my battery.
That takes some major cojones.
Yeah. Were you afraid? Did you feel, or was it a surge of adrenaline in your system? I mean, what was going through your mind?
Well, what was going through my mind was hoping a bullet would not be. I was legally open carrying. I was taking pictures. I was on a public sidewalk. I had crossed no boundaries into federal property. And, the video, it's telling that, Officer Daniel, that's the one in that video, he pulled up to me, and the first thing he said to me was, "Are you authorized to take pictures of the port?" Nothing about a firearm or anything. And it's because the people who yelled at me first only addressed the camera. They didn't talk about the openly displayed firearm because I don't know that they really saw it. The camera is much more threatening and much more intimidating to any, I think, law enforcement officer or security officer than a firearm. I don't quite know why. I have my own ideas, but I think it's funny that that's the first thing that he asked me was, am I authorized to take pictures of the port?
Exactly. And speaking of that, why don't you tell us a little bit about your equipment and your weapon? Not the one you carry in the holster, but the one you used to film that, and etc.
Sure. This is my Canon Rebel XT. This is the first camera that I really ever got. I got this as payment for shooting photos of a friend. I think what I was shooting with that day was the Canon 7D. It's great video, shoots great audio, and shoots tremendous pictures. And I also use, for most of my videos, let me try to get that here, the Canon HS300. I use the HS300 pocket camera because it has great night vision capability. Not night vision, but it can see at night really well, and it's compact and a little less intrusive than getting in your face like that. But I moved from three different Canon cameras, so I like them.
Nice. Now let me ask you, have you ever thought about, have you ever used a line that, I'm streaming this live right now, thousands of people are watching it as we speak. Have you ever?
I've not yet, because I didn't have that capability until a friend did that for me. And that's beyond my scope of understanding what my friend did to my cameras. I believe it had to do with a chip and something inside. But after seeing a few videos where people's cameras got snatched, and all of a sudden they forgot to put their cards in, of course. No, the officer didn't take it, and the officer's lapel cam just happened to not be turned on at the time. So any evidence that is damning, it's gone.
Yeah, that seems to happen a lot, and that's why a lot of people during the protests of major elections and things like that, they started streaming them live because the officers would literally grab the camera, take it away from them. Someone would break it, or all of a sudden the film has gone missing, or it's just nowhere to be found. And so the live stream is a way of protecting yourself, even though you're not actually doing it. Just telling them, by the way, this is being streamed live, so that there's nothing there for them to...
The technology is there, so you could always bullshit about it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's a good way of bullshitting. And...
Go ahead, take my camera. It's streaming live to thousands of people on YouTube right now.
The thing is, on my phone, it is live streaming, and that's just the way to go. Many of the news stories that become news stories today, Mark and I were talking earlier about the story that's breaking right now in Nevada about the Bundy Ranch. These stories come to you, and you get the information from them, and you're made aware by them because people are out there filming, whether they put it on live or whether they put it on later. They come to you because people are now filming. and that's an important thing. And I think it's funny with regards to the filming of police, especially the police who don't like it and then who take action against people. Once that video is posted, and those videos sometimes go viral, because of that one video where that officer did not want to be filmed, and the maybe millions of people who saw it, the population of people that grew from that video who are now dedicated to filming police officers who didn't exist the night before could be hundreds or thousands just because of that one video. I think it's kind of counterintuitive that which they hate so much, they're growing the population themselves.
Absolutely. Policing the police.
Yeah, exactly.
The new law.
And although some of them will pretend and they'll try to intimidate you and say you're not allowed to do that, turn that camera off. Because I've seen many videos with that kind of reaction.
Exactly.
That happens all the time, and that's what Jessica was saying about, knowing your laws. You have to read up. I consulted a few lawyers first before I did this, and I consulted the Revised Code of Washington, and I read about different federal codes. And then when I realized, as long as I'm on public land, as long as I'm not truly interfering with an investigation, meaning I'm right up in that investigation, as long as I'm not doing that, and I try not to even address the officers until they come to me, because then it's not me interfering with them, they've come to me. But yeah, the general consensus with filming police officers, and I get kind of yelled at for this frequently, is not to say anything. If they approach you, just ask if you're being detained or if you're free to go, and don't say anything. And that's solid advice. It's really good advice for people who don't really want to get into the whole filming police, but happen to be caught in a situation where they must. For me, I just think it makes better video to dialogue with them. I just think it makes a better video. It's part of, just as I go out and photograph things and want to express myself artistically through my photographs, me dialoguing with police officers is just fun. It's like a game of chess. You never know. You might get shot, you might get tased, you might get arrested, you might have a cool conversation, you might meet somebody, who knows, but you just never know. It's a grab bag of mystery, and that's kind of what I like. Makes it fun.
You definitely live on the edge, Rogue.
But it's all legal what I'm doing. Everything is legal what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's where I said, your stuff. So,
Right.
You know the law, how far you can push things and how far you can't. So you take it within your parameters, within the law,
Sure.
to be able to police the police. And I think that's phenomenal because it's doing such justice for all of us. So my question, tell us about an incident you had while filming where you were being considered a pedophile just for taking a picture of a fountain while a child got in front of the camera.
Yeah, I was in Colorado Springs at the time, and there was a fountain. It was outside of a movie theater, one of those that's in the ground and shooting water up. And what I wanted to do was get the silky water effects. I wanted to use a timed exposure and just get the silkiness of the water. What that means is the camera had to be on a tripod, and it had to be open for a few seconds. I think I was leaving it open for about 10 seconds at the time. So once I depress the shutter release button and the camera's on the tripod, it does its own thing. I have no control over it until that picture composes, until it's done. So I had been doing that for a little while, and I noticed a security officer was watching me, and I'm looking to my left, I'm looking to my right. I see that the coast is clear because I don't want people in my frame messing up what I'm trying to do. It looked clear to me. I pressed the shutter release, and maybe a second or two into the shot, a little kid ran through, and I said, "Oh man, that messed up my shot." So as a public photographer, these things happen, and while I'm getting ready for the next shot, the security officer walks up to me and really starts grilling me. "What are you doing? Why are you doing that? It's really weird." And I can't remember the exact wording, but it's really weird pedophilia activity. And I was kicked off the property. Now, since it was open to the public but private property, I respected that and had to leave. But I went home and I was really upset about that, because here I am trying to create beauty. Here I am trying to capture something beautiful that people go and they may walk past it every day and not see the beauty in this fountain that I saw, that I wanted to capture and share. And here I am being told that I'm possibly wanting to be inappropriate with kids. Like I want to take pictures of the kids so I can have them for whatever crazy purposes. And it annoyed me to no end. And that's the day, I think, the night that I went home and I Googled, I think, something about what problems photographers face in public. And I was shocked that after I Googled that, page after page after page after video come up with people who are getting beaten, people who are getting arrested. And I realized it wasn't just a problem in Colorado Springs. It wasn't just a problem in Colorado. It was a problem nationwide. And the more I read about it, it's a problem worldwide. People in authority, they like being behind the cameras, but they don't like the cameras being trained on them. And that was one of the things that really got me into the idea of filming police officers and filming my own encounters for my own safety, so that nothing was said that I did, or I just want to keep everybody accountable. And I think an officer who has integrity should welcome that, because if I made a claim against an officer that wasn't true, if I said this officer beat me, or if I said this officer said something that this officer did not say, something whether it was racist or sexist or whatnot, they could use my video as proof to exonerate them, because it's holding everybody accountable. The camera is the silent witness for everybody.
Usually it's them doing something wrong, so that's why they don't like it.
Well, and not only that, but they do have, a lot of the patrol cars now have dash cams on them, and they're hooked up to audio when they're out approaching a traffic stop or something like that. So there's cameras on them as well, but they have control over that footage. Whereas when the actual person that they're contacting or coming into contact with has control of that footage instead of
it's funny how that footage oftentimes when there's an allegation of abuse or something, that footage that the police are in control of gets, I don't know, something malfunctions. I read a story just last night though about LAPD officers who have started disabling the dash cam footage. There's an antenna that comes on the car, on the vehicle itself, and those antennas were taken off. There's a major investigation going into the LAPD police department right now, because they've or somebody has disabled their antennas, so they really can't record well.
Yeah,
don't know who that would be.
Why do you think people are so ill-informed about the laws and power police actually have, and how they use them inappropriately?
Well, I think that we're taught that anything that's said by a police officer should be taken as true. I think that we're taught this from childhood. If you're lost in a crowd, find a person in uniform. And I think that we're mentally conditioned to not question a person who's in authority, whether they're in a badge and uniform, or whether they're sitting behind a big desk in the White House. If they're in power, then we've given that power for a reason. They have assumed sort of a parental role over us. And unless we challenge that parental role, and unless we challenge why this person is saying that, and that's very intimidating to do. I'll tell you, every video that I've shot when I'm challenging authority is quite intimidating, but it has to be done. I think to answer your question, I think people are ill-informed because it's the path of least resistance. And it takes resistance to question, and it takes resistance to change your own thoughts, my own thoughts. It requires us to look in the mirror, and we might see something that we don't like to see. But that's shaking the thought monkeys from the tree, essentially.
I think also police officers have this thing that they are the law, that, how dare you question me? How dare you, disrespect? I'm the law, and it's like they don't realize they work for us. We pay their salaries. But they've got
well, you tell them that, they're just going to look at you and laugh and say, I want a raise. So that's not kind of the approach you want to take.
Yeah, I've used that approach too, and sometimes it's favorable, sometimes it's not. But yeah, they are public servants. They're there to enforce laws. And that's what we pay them for. And that's another thing why I think video is so important, is that's sort of quality assurance. That's quality control. That's giving an example to people and to the respective police departments that, you know, here is what's happening. Here's what's good. Here's what's bad. But here is what's happening. Here's a live example of what's going on in our police force, in our community, and across the nation. But yeah, I have seen that. How dare you question me? And I'll just go ahead and keep questioning. You know, I'm not going to stop that.
Well, like you said, they are public servants. They are here to serve the public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you take that and you put it in literal terms. What does that tell you?
The officer friendly of what, 50
they get
years
paid
ago?
To serve the public.
The officer friendly of 50 years ago is not the same officer friendly today. They're robocops. They're cops of corporations. That's why their vehicle has changed. The way the vehicle looks, their whole uniform has changed.
Like cyborg warriors.
Yeah, they do. You walk, the cop comes in, and he's like, you're like RoboCop.
As opposed to back in the day, they just carried one bullet and a 6-shooter.
Exactly. And here's another video that's called "Stop." You go open carry stop at port. Another Tacoma video. In Tacoma,
an example of an ill-informed civilian.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
You just got your freaking pistol on your side.
You realize that Washington's an open carry state?
I do.
Okay, so then...
You know, I've got my concealed weapons permit too, but
So
that
what?
doesn't mean I'm not going to freaking walk around with my gun like that.
Do you believe in the Constitution of the United States?
Sure.
That's what I'm doing. I'm Second Amendment. I'm
really
exercising my rights. Yes, really. Do you have a problem with me doing that?
No, I just have a problem with you having your gun out.
I'm sorry, that's too bad. That's too bad, yes. I'm sorry you feel that way, but I'm not going to do anything differently.
No, I just think that I don't understand what you're trying to do.
I just told you what I'm trying to do. I just said that. I said I'm exercising my rights to carry. And you don't like that?
The thing that I don't like is that you have your weapon on your side.
That's too bad.
I know it's too bad.
Yeah, you're gonna have to live with it. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
Because I see you're trying to be antagonistic right now too.
Am I? You stopped me.
Yeah.
You stopped me. I was walking this
Yeah.
way and you stopped me.
But,
and I'm being antagonistic.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You stopped me.
You don't even understand. See, you don't even understand what you're doing right now, do you?
What am I doing?
I already said what you're doing.
Oh,
that's not right.
Well, I already said what I'm doing. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like your little video too.
You're gonna be on YouTube. You stopped me. Have a nice day, sir. Enjoy your freedoms.
Sheeples of the world. And the sad thing is, there's so many individuals like that guy, you know, that they're just programmed to be good little listeners, you know, pay their taxes. They sit home watching football and drinking beer, and you know, it's sad.
I also noticed you're left-handed. Am I right?
No, I'm right-handed.
Oh, you are? Okay,
Yeah,
hold on a second.
right-handed.
I thought I saw your holster on the left side.
Nope, it's on the right side. I'm wearing my backpack, and what you saw on my left side was actually my Canon HS300. That's what you saw on my left side. That's where I always carry it. Yeah. What's funny about that stop? That was day 2 of me saying, "Okay, I'm going to start filming things." And my associate was with me, and she actually was behind the camera for this one. This was day 2. This happened because I was in the port and I was taking pictures of some diesel trucks that were like, it looked like it was a truck cemetery or something. They certainly weren't being used. And I was taking some pictures, again, from the sidewalk. And I was confronted by this man and I think about 5 of his coworkers asking me why I'm taking pictures of their building, why I'm doing this. I do have that video, and I want to post it. I just don't know how to put videos together at the moment. Once I figure out how to video edit, then I want to put all these videos together. But that was day 2 of my getting out and videoing, and it was, again, because of photography. Then, of course, he saw the firearm, and so that gives him an additional fuel to his perceived fire with me. And I thought that was, I respect this American's right to come to me and say what he said, how he said it. You know, I fought for his freedom just as much as my freedom to do what I'm doing. Do I agree with him? No. But if he needs to say what he needs to say, then he should be able to say it.
That's right. Anyway, we'll be right back. We're going to take a quick break for a commercial break to announce our second sponsor. So stay tuned. Dr. Varden Madirosian is a facial feminization surgeon in Jupiter, Florida. He did a fellowship in facial plastic and reconstructive surgery with one of the fathers of facial feminization surgery. He has also completed an extensive training in FFS for the past 6 years, working in close contact with his mentor. Dr. Maderosian performs surgeries in his office in a fully licensed operating room or in the local hospital with highly trained and reliable staff. Give him a call today at 561-624-0900. That's 561-624-0900. Dr. Maderosian is highly qualified and understands our needs. And we're back with the amazing road reflection.
Welcome back, Greg.
Hello. Fancy meeting you guys here.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. Do you come here often?
Yeah, I'm all by myself too.
Well, let me ask you. Do you see what you are doing creating change, and what would you like to see happen in the future?
Well, I know what I'm doing is creating change. I know firsthand that my videos have been used in police training, whether they're at the port, whether they're at security. I believe I was told Auburn Police Department. I know for a fact Seattle Police Department. And as regarding the open carry, this is something that I believe needs to really be more publicized and more normalized. So, I've approached people like in the public library system. They had a rule at one time, even though they're tax funded, that even if you had a concealed pistol license, you were not allowed in the library. And I challenged them on that, and it was a nice, mellow challenge. It was through email, and I said, look, you guys are taxpayer funded. First of all, to say that if you have a CPL, you can't come in here is wrong. But secondly, even open carry is not illegal, and that went to their board of directors, and they had to come back and to their credit, they changed that policy to keep it more in line with the revised Code of Washington or the law. So there's a lot of change happening, and I think it's changed for the better. At least it's more towards the Constitution, whether you like open carry or not. But at least the changes that are happening are more in line with the Constitution. What I would like to see happen with regards to the things that I do with photography, with open carry, is I'd like to see what I do a little more normalized, a little less demonized. I don't want to be called whether I'm carrying my firearm or not, which I always am. But even if I wasn't, I would still have encounters with officers. I would still have encounters with people who think that what I'm doing is I'm gathering intel on the building so that I can come back and bomb it. And they're totally disregarding that I have access, if I was a terrorist, to Google Maps, Google Earth, that I can get satellite views, I can get interactive maps, I can get street views, and do this from the privacy of my own home. I wouldn't be standing out there with cameras in plain view, knowing that I'm going to get stopped if I was trying to gather intel. And with regards to the open carry, I'm the guy that's at the store who's buying bananas. I'm buying cereal, and I just want to do that. I don't bother people. If they come up and converse with me, I'll converse with them. And usually it's a good conversation. Somebody who didn't know that open carry was legal, or that you didn't need a permit to open carry. Those are the typical conversations that I get. But I want to show that open carriers are not going to be the ones that are shooting up movie theaters or schools. In fact, you don't hear of open carriers committing crimes against people. I find it ironic. This is a side note. I find it ironic that sometimes people who don't like the fact that I'm open carrying will call the police officers who are also open carrying. We're conditioned to think that if you're wearing a badge and a uniform, it's okay to open carry, but if you're wearing jeans and a t-shirt, it's not. So we're going to call these other open carriers who are wearing the badge and the uniforms to come and respond to you, and they're going to come with 2 to 10 at a time. But it's okay because they have the badges and the uniforms. And between citizen open carriers and law enforcement open carriers, there's much more documented crimes committed against people from police who are open carrying than citizens who open carry ever will. This is not anti-police. It's just the fact that, citizen open carriers do not commit crimes against people. I've looked for stats, I've looked for stories, and I just can't find any. So I'd like to see it a little bit more normalized.
Yeah, and I agree. And you would think that police officers or people in general, I mean, I know criminals are not always the smartest bunch of apples in the group, but, you know, I know for a fact that you'll never see a criminal carrying a firearm on their hip open for the public to see. They're going to conceal it because they got something to hide. If you're walking around with the gun on your hip, obviously you have nothing to hide. And if you're brave enough to go out there and do that, where's the common sense here? And I'm blonde, so explain.
It's the blonde suits you well. I agree with you, though. I
Thank
mean,
you.
if I wanted to get away with something, if I was a criminal and I had, let's say, warrants out for my arrest, or if I was going to go do some major meth deal, or if I was going to rob people, I would want the element of surprise. I wouldn't want to be walking around so that everybody could see me, with a firearm right here, getting attention from people who might call the police and might thwart my goal to commit crime. Like I said, I'm just the guy who's going and buying bananas, buying cereal, or going to get a Netflix for I don't know, whatever, but I'm not the guy that's out there shooting up schools and theaters. Those are the people, the criminals, who don't regard the laws, the people who are not going to follow whatever laws is created anyways. Those are the ones that are causing the social problems in America with firearms, not the guys that are open carrying, being peaceful citizens.
Absolutely. And just like you were saying about shooting people up and everything like that, like the movie theater incident, if more people had firearms, what do you think the outcome would have been in that given situation? That Batman movie where that guy came in and shot a bunch of people?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I think it's funny that we bring that up, because Aurora was a theater that was shot up by one criminal with a firearm, and many people died. In the same state, in Colorado Springs, I believe a year before that, New Life Church also had an active shooter incident, and people were killed by a gunman. But what stopped that was one citizen who was in the congregation or in the church at the time, who also had a firearm. One law-abiding citizen saw that active shooter, deployed her firearm, engaged that active shooter, and stopped that active shooting incident. And I think they said he was found with 1,000 more rounds with which to do the damage, but he was stopped cold from another carrier. She was carrying concealed, I believe, but she was a law-abiding citizen who had a firearm and was able to protect herself and those around her.
Absolutely.
Same state.
I think the Wild Wild West, how it used to be before, they had the sheriff, but people carried their gun. They were allowed, and I think there were a lot less crimes back then than there are now.
Sure.
I agree.
Yeah. A little worried about you there, Scott. Do you go to sleep with that, shower with it? I mean,
No, I don't wear it at home. I'm just wearing it at home because for this interview, I come home and I take it off and I put it away once I get home.
Okay, I was just, I was starting to get a little worried there. I was like, oh, he's got the gun on him. I was just joking. Anyway, what do you think about transgender individuals, and what led you to be supportive?
What I think about transgender people is what I think about men, women, black, white, gay, straight, bi. We are all people who are trying to live our lives. We have a small piece of this earth that we can live in, and I think that we have to share that earth. I think that as long as who you are is peaceful, as long as whatever you do, whoever you want to marry, whoever you want to love, and however you want to express your inner self to the outer world so that they can understand you a little better, I think this is a great thing to do. So transgender people are people just like me, just like anyone around, as long as we're peaceful people, as long as we're friendly people, or we don't even have to always be friendly, but as long as we're not hurting people, I think that we should be loved and supported and not stopped, expressing who we are.
Yeah, and I think there's a force behind divide, so they could conquer. The more they create anger, whether it's to the religious groups, whether it's to the government, whatever it is, that whole division gives them power over us. And I think if humanity finally realized we're all in this together, we're all one, it's all about unconditional love, I think this world will be a much better place.
Exactly.
Did you want to
Absolutely.
add
What I
anything else?
appreciate with you guys is that you have this forum that you guys can reach out to people on, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook. You're getting yourselves out there, two transgender people who've come together, who love each other, and now you're taking a road trip, and you're sharing your stories with the world. What you're doing is you're saying, hey, we are here. We're people just like anybody else. We're taking a road trip. This is what we're here to do. We're gonna take a road trip and enjoy our lives. This is what anybody else would do who, if they had the capability to do so, would be doing so. It's not anything abnormal. This is what people do. I think it's wonderful that you guys have this forum to reach out to people too.
And we think it's wonderful what you do because, we want to thank you on behalf of all human beings for what you do and fighting for all our constitutional rights. Showing people that we do have rights out there, even though a lot of us think we don't. And what you do is very brave, and it's absolutely amazing. So we salute you for that.
Yes.
Thank you. Likewise, and congratulations on your name change, by the way. I wanted to bring that up.
What's that?
Congratulations on the name change.
Oh,
thank you. Yes. Thank you. That was a big feather in my cap there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely was. Well, we want to thank you, Scott, for being on our show, for sharing your message with the world and with our viewers. And anything else you wanted to add before we bid you good night?
It was my pleasure and honor to be on here.
And it's an honor to have you as a friend and have you on our side.
All right. Well, I bid you all a good day and salud.
We love you.
Love you back.
Well, we'll be right back with the Shame on You segment.
In the transition video of the week.
Stay tuned.
Hi there, Gay Life Television viewers. This is Joe Crynock from Straight Not Straight and Cup of Joe here on Gay Life Television. So I have to ask you a question. Do you have a Roku box? Well, if you don't, then you're missing out on a ton of on-demand and exclusive content that we have available on Gay Life Television Premium. You can subscribe today by going to the Roku store on your Roku box or on the web at Roku.com and adding Gay Life Television Premium to your Roku for only $1.99 a month. Bringing quality television to the LGBTQ community, it's Gay Life Television Premium.
No breakdancing.
No breakdancing.
Welcome to the Shame on You edition of Transition Radio Television. Well, our article tonight, I was waiting for the music to stop, but our article tonight is by one of the authors, Michelle Spicer, and it's called Even the First Lady is Not Safe. I just came across the video below entitled, let's see if I can pronounce this, irrefutable proof that Michelle Obama is a man 24/7. And I just can't believe that these people have so much time on their hands to feed their transphobia that they would go to such a great length to discredit the First Lady simply because she is not stereotypically female and lacking any male traits whatsoever.
Women and men come in all shapes and sizes, most having come from a fantastic spectrum of how the humans can be. Simply because she does not match what our media thinks a woman should look like, she falls prey to these simpletons who are so afraid of pretty much everything that they would spend hours of their time making such an asinine video about one of the most successful women in the world.
I can't help but sense a touch of racism here as well. This is not only an attack on the First Lady, but the entire transgender community as a whole, implying that it is somehow bad and disgusting to be transgender. They go on and on about the physical characteristics of Michelle in an attempt to... Okay, another word I can't pronounce.
Degenerate.
Denigrate. Okay, sorry. Denigrate. Not only... Shut up. Denigrate. And you're the Cuban one. Denigrate. Not only her, but everyone out there who is a transgender woman.
These people, apparently, a husband and wife, deserve to be publicly flagged with their genitalia on display for all to see. As I was suffering through the video, I kept imagining a black van stopping them in the street, taking them into custody, Russian style, only later to show up in a foreign prison with no rights whatsoever. I would not blame Obama and Michelle for that one either. They also have drones. Hint, hint, America is a free country. Yeah. Where everyone is allowed to make complete fools of themselves and they excel at it. Shame on you, Webflix guy. Get a life. We're not free.
No.
We're not free. We think we're free.
Yeah, right. We're semi-free.
No, we're prisoners with invisible bars and slaves.
Yes.
We are cattle.
Yes, we are. Moo. So if you want,
go ahead.
If you would like to read the rest of the article, then feel free to check out the Shame on You blog at shameonu2014.blogspot.com.
And if you have anything that you wanted us to mention on the Shame on You section, please go ahead and fill out a form that we provide on that blog.
Yes. Okay, I'm not going to dance. There's no pole here. So let's move on.
Let's move on. The changes can be subtle or they can be drastic. Either way, it's all fantastic and a true dream come true. Who would have thought that one day I was a caterpillar and the next day an amazing butterfly, changing and growing right before your very eyes?
Good days and bad, sad days, and somewhere I am glad. Overall, it's a journey that I will never forget for as long as I live. And now for the transition video of the week with Benton.
Hello everybody, today I am 10 months on T, and today I'm going to show you guys all of the changes that have happened physically and psychologically. So what we're going to do is we're going to start head to toe and talk about the physical changes first, and I'm going to show you pictures and stuff, and then we'll talk about all the other changes that you can't see on the body, because things happen in your head too. So the first thing is my hairline, and here's a picture of my hairline pre-testosterone. And a female hairline is typically more round, and now my hairline, as you can see, is more squared out. As far as facial hair goes, I haven't really gotten much of it, but here is my face pre-testosterone compared to about 9-ish months. I get little thick black things here that I always shave off because it's embarrassing, and a little bit down here, and I'm starting to get stuff, little thin dark hairs here, so yeah. My jaw has changed a little bit. The skin around my jaw is thinner, making the bone come out more so it looks more square instead of having a bunch of like fat down here and making it round. My neck has also gotten wider from my back. You can sort of see the muscles coming from here up to here. My shoulders are a lot broader now. Testosterone and working out, it sort of changes the way that your muscles react to physical activity and stuff, and they respond better to it. So that has definitely helped me kind of square off my body more and trying to make my shoulders wider than my hips. My chest has gotten a lot smaller now. Not completely to where I don't need to bind, but binding is a lot more comfortable now. My voice has dropped. Around 3 months on T, I could feel my vocal cords like getting bigger and wider, and it made my throat itch and stuff, but now that sort of stopped and my voice is still slowly getting deeper and deeper and deeper.
But tomorrow is my first endocrinologist appointment.
And this is my voice now. So typically girls have a more hourglass figure. Before starting testosterone I had that, but now the fat that has been at my hips has redistributed to more in the middle of my body, so it makes it more of a sort of like a square shape, and then sort of like a triangle with the shoulders getting bigger and the hips getting smaller. It goes like this. So the first like body hair that I noticed was on my legs. It started from my ankle and went up more and more to my leg, but now it's filled with hair everywhere, and it's come up to my thighs and on my arms and my stomach and even a little bit on my chest, and I have like 3 random long black hairs just sitting on my shoulder, which is really weird. But something really weird about my arm hair, as a child I used to have really long arm hair and I would get bullied about it. That's how long it was. And now there's like nothing there, so it's like my hair on my arms just thinned out. With fat moving around too, sometimes it makes other parts of your body, like the skin, it seems a little bit thinner. Like here, for example, like I was saying, it feels thinner, but it's actually not. It's just, you're like closer to the bone. But anyways, that makes the veins and stuff in my hands and even a little bit by my hips now starting to pop out because of the fat moving around. The common misconception that on testosterone you become some raging, aggressive man bear, but you don't. You still get angry, the same amount of anger, but you feel it differently in your body. I used to feel it in my chest and in my stomach, but now I feel it in my face and in my hands, and my face gets red, and you can tell when I'm angry because it shows. My menstrual cycle finally stopped at 8 months. My skin on my face and my back and my chest, it's a lot oilier now, so I'm starting to get acne. And the last thing that I've noticed, playing sports or doing any sort of physical activity, I have a lot more energy. And basically, if I'm playing hockey and I go out for a shift, I come back, 20 seconds later, I'd be ready to go again. But pre-testosterone, it might have taken me like a minute to recover, and then I would not want to do it anymore. The first dosage I had was 50 milligrams every second week, and then that sort of gave me mood swings because taking 50, going up, and then giving it 2 weeks to go down, and then up again, obviously mood swings like that, and then I went up even higher to 100 milligrams a week, so it was like up, and then way down, and then way up again, and then that was just worse. But now I am on 80 milligrams every week, so it goes up a little bit, So basically everything is balanced now, and it's good. So thank you guys for watching. Give this video a big like if you guys learned something about testosterone changes, or maybe you were just interested in the changes that are happening to my body. Yes.
You are a science experiment.
Make sure to hit the subscribe button below. I put out new videos almost every week, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!
Very interesting video.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Remember to send us your transition video to transitionradioshow@gmail.com. Again, it's at transitionradioshow@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Speaking of transgender and transitioning, have we noticed that there are so many celebrities who are embarking on changing their gender? I mean, just tons. They're just coming out of nowhere. There's even been rumors of Bruce Jenner. Wasn't he the famous Olympic runner?
Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Yeah, well, Bruce is not getting any sex change. Or is he? I don't know. We will have... Well, I'm sorry. We will leave you with this clip and let you decide.
Before we go, though, we want to thank our sponsors. Thank Gay Life TV. Thank you, viewers. Yes, thanks, Scott. And who do we have next week? Next week, we've got a guest from Australia, Gabrielle. Or Gabriella is her name, and all the way. It'll be Thursday here, and it'll be Friday where we're interviewing her. So that'll be the first. It'll be our Thursday, her Friday.
Like I said before, if you want to find out what's going to happen tomorrow, just call somebody in Australia.
Yes, so we've got that connection. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us. And
so does that mean we're fortune tellers?
Yes, we are.
Oh, okay. Just thought I'd ask.
Make sure you check out our blog, Transgender Highway, to keep up with our whereabouts, and we post a lot of videos there.
Yeah, you can literally follow us. We have a map up there.
Yes, we have a map, so send us an email saying hello. And if you want to meet up with us, we are in Georgia, Collins, Georgia.
Yes.
We would love to have some sort of get-together here in the campground, trans
some
and
sort of
gay,
event. We'll
bi, anybody that wants to meet and do a little fire, luau, or whatever, something fun. So
sit around the campfire and sing Kumbaya? No, we won't do that. But
we could.
Well, we could, but I don't think singing Kumbaya. I hate that song.
Okay. Anyway, thank you guys. We love you.
But remember to always love yourselves too. Good night. Mwah.
Kris Jenner is just laughing off the rumors that Bruce is getting a sex change. Hey guys, Dax Holt here. Last night, cameras caught up with Kris Jenner as she was leaving Mr. Chow in Malibu, and the paparazzi went up to her and just said, okay, look, let's get into this. If Bruce Jenner is actually getting a sex change, would you support it?
He's just talking about, would you support?
Idiots.
Would you support him?
Clearly, she doesn't want to talk about the situation. You know, obviously there's been a lot of talk lately about the possibility of him doing a sex change because he got the laryngeal shave, he's grown out his hair, he's dyed it this ombre dye job. It looks like he's developed breasts, his nails are growing out, they look painted. So a lot of people obviously questioning what the heck's going on. The Kardashian family and friends have been saying that that is not the truth. He is not getting a sex change, that in fact he is just addicted to plastic surgery, kind of like Michael Jackson was, never happy with the way he looks. So, I think it's relevant for the paps to be asking her these kind of questions. However, she's not answering. She is laughing off any insinuation that Bruce is getting a sex change. So, from her to you guys, no sex change.